Welcome everyone. I believe we are live. Thank you everyone for joining this webinar workshop, How to Heal Yourself with Chinese Medicine. My name is Radislav Dechev. If you are here, you probably know me from TikTok, from YouTube. I post a lot of Chinese medicine videos, acupoints, QiGong. So this workshop is just basically going to help you teach you how to heal yourself using that medicine. So without further ado, let's pop open the presentation and get started. So, how to heal yourself with Chinese medicine? Well, let's start off actually with what can Chinese medicine do for you? This is QiGong master Lu Zijian. He's 118 years old here, and he's moving like a spry chicken 20-year-old. So if there's anyone on this call that's, 30, 40, 50, 60, thinking that their body's too old, they're going to be in pain forever, they're going to be going into illness. This is a great example of what Chinese medicine, what QiGong, what acupoints, acupressure can do for you. Once again, you can find this video on YouTube. It's QiGong Master Lu Zijian at 118 years of age, just moving like crazy. And this is why I love Chinese medicine, just the healing power, and what we're going to get into through this presentation. So without further ado, let's check it out. So what we're going to cover is the root cause of disease according to Chinese medicine, the fundamental differences between Eastern and Western medicine, very important, why laying in bed and resting is actually harming you. A lot of the time, we think, oh, I'm sick, I should be laying in bed, resting, recovering. Well, that actually might not be the right thing for you, and we're going to get into that. And how to start the healing process with just 10 minutes a day. So number one principle in Chinese medicine is if there is free flow, there is no pain. If there is no free flow, there is pain. We're going to get into exactly what that means. And first we're going to start with what Chinese medicine is. So Chinese medicine is a 2,000-year-old medicine, and it seeks to balance the human body with nature. Unlike something like Western medicine, where we try to dominate nature and get on top of it through science and artificial means, Chinese medicine actually tries to harmonize with the natural cycles of nature. It's a preventative medicine used to treat and prevent chronic conditions, and it's actually very scientific and not, people think Eastern medicine, Chinese medicine, oh, it's intuition, oh, it feels like this, but actually having a deep understanding of how the body functions and foundations of Chinese medicine, which we'll get into a bit here, so you'll understand why it's not just make-believe, but it's actually very scientific. And it seeks to restore the balance of channels, the energy in the channels that flow through your body. Eastern versus Western, we have Western medicine, which is great for acute problems, so generally tends to deal with the physical. You get in a car accident, your bones break, you have a heart attack, go to the hospital. But it also tends to be very reductionist and symptom-based. So you go in for your doctor's appointment, oh, I have stomach pain, tell me about your stomach pain, here's a prescription for that. Versus Eastern is much better for chronic problems, still good for acute, but really good for chronic problems. It deals with the mental, emotional, and spiritual aspect along with the physical. It focuses on lifestyle changes and daily practices of self-healing rather than giving a pill. And we think it in holistic terms. So if you come and see me and I give you a Chinese medicine diagnosis, we're spending 20 minutes talking about your diet, your sleep patterns, your stress, your bowel movements, your urination, just a whole slew of things to get a big, broad picture as to what the root causes of your symptom that you've come in for. One other way to think about the difference between these two is a dying plant. So we have this dying plant here. In Western medicine, we would look at this dying plant, we'd cut off the leaves, we'd put some medication into the soil, and we try to artificially from the outside heal it and control what's going on. But because this plant is of nature, there's actually a few things it needs, and it's not really human intervention that it needs. What it needs is to be put into the sunlight and given basic nutrients like water. With adequate sunlight, with water, the plant will heal itself from the inside because it's given what it needs from nature, versus trying to cut its leaves and add artificial antibiotics or fertilizers, those kind of things. So this helps demonstrate the differences between the two kind of thinking. So energy channels are very important in Chinese medicine. We have 12 primary channels plus 8 extraordinary channels, but only 2 of them have their own channel on the exterior of the body with acupuncture points. So these channels act as a super connected highway to deliver nutrition and remove waste. If there's an energy blockage or reduction of flow, everything down the stream will be impacted. So here's just a few examples of some of the channels. This is my body. This is from my book, Acupoints 101. We have the small intestine channel, the triple burner, the Ren, and the lung channel. And each of these channels has its own acupoints running through it, which we'll get into later. Energy channels in Chinese medicine act as rivers. So we have a flow that needs to happen. If the river stops flowing, a swamp will appear. A lack of flow leads to stagnation. So that quote from the very beginning, if there is free flow, there is no pain. If there is no flow, there is pain. So this is that same analogy. If you have a crystal clear running river, that's going to be very nice and clean versus a swamp that's stagnated and allowed to build up bacteria. Another way to think of this in blockages and stagnation is when you go to the gym and you're doing a bicep curl. You know, we've probably all been to the gym one time, done some bicep curls, and we felt that accumulation of lactic acid burning the muscle and the metabolites breaking down. So what's happening is as we're lifting those weights, 5, 10, 20 reps, whatever it is, you start to feel a burn in the muscle because there's a lack of blood flow. So that contraction of the muscle squeezes the blood and restricts flow from coming in, which means that as we're doing the curl and the reps, the lactic acid is building up, but it can't leave because there's not enough blood flow. This acidity burns the tissues, causes damage. Over time, it heals, we build muscle. However, you know, that's just thinking about it in a 30 to 60 second range. If your tissues aren't receiving blood flow for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks, that causes that acidity to build up and you experience pain in the muscle, pain in the joints, pain in the neck, the hamstrings, all these places due to a stagnation of blood. So I want to do this presentation, you know, Chinese medicine style, talk about energy, but we will be relating it to the physical, more Western anatomy as well. So I have a kinesiology background as well as a traditional Chinese medicine schooling. So I want to put those two together for you to paint a picture of what's going on in your body. Trigger warning, if you're squeamish or sensitive and don't want to see blood or some insides of people, it's not like people dying, but I want to show you that energy is energy, but physical matter is something else. So to demonstrate that stagnation, physical warning, just look away if you don't want to see it. On the left side, we have menstrual blood that came out of a woman. So as this blood comes out, it's very sticky and coagulative, and so it clots and comes together in clumps. Now, if it's outside of your body, it's much more likely to just start to form that clump. It's not going to look exactly like that inside your body. That being said, when the heart's not pumping, when the muscle's not moving, when the qi is not flowing, that blood becomes sticky and it does coagulate and it does cause problems internally. So you want to figure out a way to move the blood, move the qi, so that this doesn't happen internally. Now on the right side here, we have fascial adhesions forming between the organs. So your fascia is supposed to be very, fascia, first of all, it's a connective tissue that wraps all the organs and muscles and allows them to slide and move around on each other. And so in your intestines, for example, here, if you get these fascial adhesions, things start to bind and contract and you start to lose flexibility, mobility in the organs, in the muscle tissue, in the joints. So again, stagnation in the body on an energetic level is not good. But on a physical plane level, this is what can happen. And to look at it a little bit deeper, we got the fascia, which can bind the arteries and the nerves. So if it binds the arteries, it's reducing your blood flow and decreasing the delivery of oxygen and nutrients. And it can also bind over your nerve cells, which can cause pain like sciatica or shoulder or neck pain. So having a way to work out these fascial adhesions and stagnations is very important. And we're going to do something together right now to do that. So we're going to start with our first QiGong exercise. So I don't want this to be just a boring reading slides the whole time. So here, we're going to come together, stand up right now, and we're going to start. If you can't stand, if you're in a place where you can't stand, or you have certain body pains or joint pains or limitations, just do a much gentler version of what I'm about to show you. So you want to start with just a gentle bouncing at the knees. So you're just bobbing up and down lightly with your knees initiating the movement. As you get a little bit more vigorous, you allow that bounce to come in through the shoulders, through the elbows, through the wrists, and we start to initiate shaking. This is a shaking Qigong, very powerful for medical Qigong, and I'll show you exactly what it's doing in this next slide. But just engage with it right now, bounce. If you feel any pain, if you feel any strain, just reduce the amount of bouncing, reduce the amount of shaking. But if you can, just let it go. Shake as much as you can in all directions. Releasing, releasing. So we're moving stagnation with this. We're moving chi and we're moving blood. Big breaths. We're going to try and breathe through the nose on this. Get the circulation going. This is also going to help with retention of the knowledge we're going to go through right now. If you're just sitting at a screen, blanking out, it's going to be much harder, but shake. Okay, we're going to come in. We're going to make it a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little slower. And then put your hands in a circle just like this. Fingertips pointing towards each other. Notice what you feel in your palms, up your wrist, up your arm. If you feel like a little bit of tingling, numbness sensation, that sensation is chi moving through your body. So we've built up the chi, we've come down, we've settled, and now you get to experience chi from a physical perspective. So doing this throughout the day, 5 to 10 minutes, can help break down stagnation, can help with the fascia, can help with blood stickiness or clotting, and it can help you start to feel the chi and develop a QiGong practice, which we'll get into as well. So thank you for engaging on that one. We're going to come back down, continue the little presentation. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed that. Tell me if you're a fan of QiGong, if that was a good little mover. I did this workshop a couple of days ago, and someone reached out to me saying they had the best night of sleep in quite a while. They slept for 12 hours after doing just a few of these QiGong exercises I'm showing you. So definitely encouraged to follow along as we go through. So the shaking helps to shake up sticky blood. It helps to move lymph, which is very important for your immune system, and synovial fluid, which is in the joints. So if you have any joint pain, synovial fluid is extremely important. You might have noticed if you've been on a long car ride or an airplane ride, sitting in a position for a prolonged period of time doesn't make your joints feel good because the synovial fluid is stagnating, your blood is stagnating. Likewise, same thing with cerebrospinal fluid. That's a fluid that goes through your spinal cord up into your brain, helps you deal with Alzheimer's, dementia, brain fogginess, sharpness, mental acuity, memory. If you have good circulation of cerebral spinal fluid, again, it's that bicep curling analogy. You're allowing fresh resources in and you're removing the waste. If you don't do that, your body will start to break down. So what is QiGong? QiGong is focused energy movement with intention. So we're shaking the body around, that was a focused movement, and then you can add intentions to it, which I'll get into a little bit later. It helps to clear the stagnation in the channels, releases stored emotions and trauma, which we'll get into soon, moves the sticky blood, and relieves adhesions from the fascia. So if you've ever broken a bone or you know someone who's been in a cast, that lack of movement through that muscle tissue leads to atrophy. So the breakdown of tissue, that muscle gets smaller. Because there isn't enough movement, it doesn't have the ability to maintain its mass and it shrinks. So if someone was in a leg cast, they come out of it, one side is much bigger than the other side, they have to rebuild it up. The same thing happens to all the tissues in your body. If your eyes or your ears, your mouth, your heart, your liver, your spleen, your pancreas doesn't get enough chi and blood flow, it starts to shrink and reduce its size. And now we're going to get into some very interesting stuff. So yin and yang, I'm sure we've all heard this, but what does it actually mean from a Chinese medicine perspective? Yin and yang is the foundations of Chinese medicine. So it has 4 components. And we'll start with this Tai Chi circle. And basically, it's oppositional. So you can't have dark without light. You need black to know white. You need day to know night. So it's oppositional, they're opposites. They're mutually consuming, so they're always turning into each other. Day at the peak at 12 p.m., that's like the highest high of yang. And then as it starts to change into nighttime, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m., midnight, they're consuming each other. The yang is being consumed by yin as the yin becomes dominant in the day cycle situation. They're interdependent, they rely on each other. Again, they can't exist without each other. And this is to demonstrate that you can't know good, you can't know happiness, you can't know joy unless there is bad and evil in the world, and it's a balance, okay? We have free will, we have free ability, and in order for us to have that free will and free ability, some people have to be able to commit bad things while others do good things. And that creates this dichotomy and understanding that this is how we exist under the law of nature. One cannot exist without the other. So if you want to experience happiness and joy, you got to go through some sadness and misery as well. And they're always transforming into each other yet again. So balancing yin and yang. In Chinese medicine, yin is considered to be water, dark, the moon, nighttime, matter, while yang is fire, light, sun, day, energy. Yin is more resting while yang is active. Yin is on the interior, yang is on the exterior. Yin is cold, yang is hot. Yin is deficient, yang is excess, female, male. So we're going to start to put this together in a practical medical application that you can start to see inside yourself. And you always need to realize that it's always relative. So something like a volcano, that's fire, or something like fire is yang, but it's relatively yang compared to water. A volcano is more yang than fire, so therefore fire in this case compared to a volcano is actually yin. And a volcano is yin relative to the sun, which is the ultimate yang. So everything is relative to each other. You can't just say fire is yang. Okay, fire is yang relative to water. So very important to understand. The goal with Chinese medicine and even modern medicine is to reach a good state of homeostasis where all bodily systems are balanced and working together. That is, the yang is in equal balance with the yin in your body. So what happens when it's not like case? Disease arises. So we can have excessive yang compared to yin. We can have excessive yin compared to yang. Or we can have yang being deficient relative to the yin, or yin being deficient relative to the yang. So as we start diving into this, make a few notes in your head. Do I feel more yang deficient or yin deficient, yin excess, yang excess, based on what I'm saying? So here we have yin deficiency. And so yin is related to water and it's related to cold. So we're going to see a lot of heat symptoms and dryness. So if you experience redness or heat, especially in the evenings, hot flashes, dryness through the body, anxious, so heat will also agitate the mind, make you feel uneasy. It's going to make you want to drink more. And it's also going to reduce the amount of water volume. So when you go to urinate, you're going to tend to have darker urine, plus some night sweating. So if you see these symptoms in yourself, more than 3 of them, it's pointing to yin deficiency. Yin excess would be coldness, so cold bones, heaviness, that's related to dampness, that's related to water, so having excess of water. Pale complexion, that's the yang, not able to rise the blood to the face. A lack of appetite, lack of thirst, as well as copious urination. So more water, you're not really thirsty if you have a lot of water on board. If you have a lot of matter on board, you're also not so hungry, and you got more urine. So from here we have yang deficiencies. So cold limbs, so yang is heat, it's fire, it's activity. So if you don't have that, you're gonna seem cold. You're not gonna have much motivation or energy. You're not lacking thirst because you have more yin relative to yang. And again, that yang isn't able to rise the blood to your face. And yang is very important for stool and for digestive function. And again, we see urine. Lastly, we have excess of yang, so we have a lot of heat, we have a lot of fire, so we're seeing redness, heat, fever, thirst, agitation to the mind, burning sensations, that can be in urination, as well as dark urine yet again. So what does this mean practically? It means if you're a yang person, you need more yin. If you're a yin person, you need more yang. In practical sense, if you do, I'm stereotyping here, a lot of yoga, if you're stretching and you're lengthening and you're relaxing, you might need to switch to weightlifting to balance yourself out. Versus bodybuilders that are always just putting on mass, getting bigger and bigger and tighter, they're just yang expressing. They need to go to a yoga class and stretch. If you're working 12 to 16 hours a day, you got to make some time to play, to to balance the yin and yang. If you're a relatively hot person, you're going to need to spend some time in the cold or introduce cold. If you're a cold person, try to avoid getting more cold. You want to get more hot. Now, we'll talk about some vital substances like qi and blood. Again, it's all yin and yang. So qi is life force energy. It's yang. It's immaterial. You can't really see it. But blood is substantive. It's visible. It's nourishing. It's yin. Qi is made from air and food, while blood is just built from the food. Very important. So when we consider that qi is built through air and food, you can of course change the diet, which takes time, takes commitment, takes energy, or you can also attack the breath aspect. So most of us tend to breathe up in here into the neck and chest using these small little accessory muscles rather than the diaphragm. This limits the amount of lungs we use during each breath. So on average, people are only using 1/7 of their actual lung capacity. Even right now as I'm speaking, I'm not taking a... Now I've filled up my actual lung capacity and let it go. So I'm bringing in 7 times the amount of qi that I normally would in a regular breath, boosting my energy. Okay, giving me energy to heal whatever ailments I'm going through, whatever joints, problems, digestion, headaches. Without this energy as the base, it's very hard to heal because you need energy to heal. We take about 25,000 breaths a day, and if you're doing those incorrectly, not only is it taking away from your qi, but it's also just causing muscular imbalance and compensations to occur. So what you really need to focus on is nose breathing throughout the day. That engages the rest and digest system, which allows your body to heal. Very important. If you're breathing through the mouth, you're engaging fight or flight, and your body's staying in a chronic stress state. You also want to think about using the diaphragm and inhaling deeply into the pit of your stomach. Very, very important. So we're going to do something called the White Tiger cleansing breath. I train White Tiger QiGong. It's a type of medical QiGong, and this is a breath they use. So we're going to inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. And then exhale through the mouth as if you're blowing up a balloon for 8 seconds. So it looks like this. Inhale through the nose, 4 seconds. Exhale through the mouth. Do this with me now. Notice the effects that has on your body. You want to do longer exhales when you're feeling fatigued or stressed, as the longer exhale is going to calm you down physiologically. But in Chinese medicine terms, when you breathe through the pinhole of your mouth, it's helping you to retain the qi that you've breathed in. So if I take a big breath in and then just breathe it out, it's letting go a lot more qi versus if I do through the pinhole. This you can experience for yourself. Spend 2 to 5 minutes a day just doing White Tiger cleansing breath. And as you do it, you want to breathe out that which does not serve you. So I use that sentence specifically because sometimes we don't know what we want to let go of energetically. So we just ask to release that which does not serve us anymore. If you know specifically sadness, grief, anger, whatever it is, breathe that out as you release the breath and cleanse. Okay, so you can keep this up as we go through the presentation. Take this practice with you. We're going to get into the functions of qi now. So qi has 6 functions in the body. That is to warm you, to protect you, to lift, to stop prolapse from happening, transforming and transporting, that is related to the ingestion of food, and you transform that food and transport it to the body to use as energy. And holding is, again, just keeping things in place, typically associated with the blood and keeping it in the vessels. So if you're someone that bruises easily or bleeds easily, this holding function of qi is not working well. If you're someone that's prolapsing, whatever organ is prolapsing, that's the qi dysfunctioning with its lifting abilities. If you're getting sick often, if you're unable to control your sweating, that's the protective part of the qi not working well. So this leads to pathologies of qi. There's 4 pathologies. So stagnation, that qi is not moving. Deficiency, there's not enough of it. It's sinking, that would be the prolapse effect versus the holding up effect. And then rebellion is very interesting. All the organs have rebellious qi in the sense that if I take a breath in for my lungs, example, I breathe in and that air descends through my body. So that's the pathway of lung qi And if I have rebellious lung qi, that would mean the air is coming up the other way and I'm coughing. For the stomach, the qi is supposed to sink. If I vomit or have acid regurgitation, that is rebellious qi. That's qi moving the opposite direction where it's supposed to. So I told you that it's a very scientific model of Chinese medicine, and this is what I mean. So we went to yin and yang, which breaks into qi. We're going to get into blood in 1 second, but qi deficiency is an example. Again, you can take out a piece of paper if you want. If you have 3 or more of these signs, you're likely qi deficient. So fatigue, loose stools, poor appetite, slight breathlessness, a lack of motivation or enthusiasm, a weak voice, pale complexion, and slight sweating. So when you come in to get a Chinese medicine diagnosis, you get a slew of questions like this, and as you answer more questions, it becomes more and more clear, is it a qi, is it a blood, is it a yin or yang deficiency, excess, and which organ does that go to? So we're going to take this a little bit further now with spleen functions. So this is a dumbed down version of what the spleen does, but basically it transforms food liquid to make it into qi and blood. So spleen helps with digestion. It ascends the qi. It gives an uplifting in the body to keep the blood vessels blood in its blood vessels and to stop your organs from prolapsing. Controls the blood, keeps it in the vessels, controls the muscles, 4 limbs, and is the root of post-heaven qi. So when we get spleen functions mixed with qi deficiency, we can see that the qi functions of the spleen stop working well. So unhealthy pale face, that's the blood controlling and the ascending of qi. So if that pale face, that means there's not enough blood circulating through there, the qi is not able to rise it up. If you're fatigued, sign of qi deficiency, your spleen isn't able to generate qi and blood to give you enough energy. A weak appetite is a sign that your spleen and your stomach they don't have strong digestive powers and they don't want a lot of food coming in. If you have a strong, big appetite, especially in the morning, tends to mean that your spleen and stomach and your hunger functions are working well. Digestion, distension in the stomach, bloating, bruising easily, loose stools, weak muscles, low energy, emaciated, thin, frail. So if you have 3 or more of these, that typically points to a spleen qi deficiency, and you would use points like spleen 3, spleen 6, stomach 36, ren 12, bladder 20 to help work on that deficiency with acupoints. You can also work with it through QiGong and through food changes. So next up we have the functions of blood, very important. So blood nourishes the body, moistens the body, houses the mind, so it holds the mind, circulates nutritive qi, and is important for menstruation. So if you have menstrual issues, blood is important. Pathologically, we can have blood stasis. Stasis is just another word for stagnation, so blood stagnation. Heat in the blood, which manifests as acne or rashes or redness on the skin, itching, and blood deficiency, which tends to manifest as dryness because we don't have that yin nurturing, nourishing aspect. So we take blood stasis. Here's the 4 main signs for blood stasis in general. Is fixed stabbing pain, so pain that's in one location doesn't move. A dark face, purple lips, nails. That purple dark color is just a sign that the blood is not moving. So if I hold my hand like this and cut off the blood flow, you'll notice it would start to turn purple and dark. If you have that chronically in your hands, in your limbs, in your feet, in your face, sign of blood stasis. Abdominal masses that are fixed, so if you have like spots on your body and your chest and your abs that don't move, again, blood stasis. And painful periods with dark clotting, that's a sign of stagnation. There is no free flow, therefore pain will happen. So what we want to do is encourage free flow. Liver blood stasis, we're putting liver with blood stasis. Again, pain in the rib side, painful menstruations, abdominal pain, the purple of the face, vomiting blood and nosebleeds, dark menstrual blood, clots, palpable mass on the ribs side, dry skin. And then we have points to help overcome that. So these charts are actually from my Acupoints 101 and Chinese Medicine 101 guidebooks. There's just a bunch of different organs, a bunch of different possibilities, and I make it simple for you to just go through and say, ooh, this is what I got. These are the acupoints I need to press. So the cause of the disease, this is really where we should be paying attention. So cause of the disease, if there's no free flow, there's pain. If there is free flow, there is no pain. So that free flow or lack of free flow can be seen as thick and sticky blood, sore and stiff joints, tight fascia, so like tight muscles, not flexible at all, blockages in the energy channels, and stuck emotions and trauma. The three main causes of disease in Chinese medicine, again, leading stagnation of qi and blood, which impacts the channels in the organs, which impacts the function of yin and yang, are the environment, so things outside of you, emotions, internal, and then habits and miscellaneous. So environment, we have 6 external pathogens in Chinese medicine, or evil pathogens. So we have wind, heat, summer heat, cold, dry, and damp. These can be thought of as bacteria or virus. It's coming from the outside, and wind is required in Chinese medicine to bring these external pathogens in. So we can have wind, you can have wind heat, wind cold, wind dry, wind damp, bringing those elements into the body, causing disease. The organs and the environment pathogens, so we have wind that strikes the liver, it happens in the springtime. Heat damages the heart, the summer. This can happen at any time, but because the spring is associated to the liver and wind, it's more likely to attack you in that time. So if you have a weak liver or an excess liver, you need to protect the liver during the spring. Heat damages the heart, so it's summertime, you can think it's really hot outside, you're sweating, you're working out, you have a heat stroke. Okay, not good to add heat during a heat time, and if you're already a hot person, you're stacking a bunch of elements together into a negative. So you're basically, we're going excess yang or excess yin in these situations. Dryness attacking the lungs, autumn, cold injury in the kidneys in the winter, and dampness hurting the spleen during the transition. So transition period between spring and summer, summer, autumn, autumn, winter, that would be considered earth time, spleen time, and dampness. So preventatively, you want to think about yin and yang. If it's hot outside and you tend to run hot, don't double it. If it's winter, don't do ice baths. It pushes you more yin, especially if you're already a cold person. You can really experience even colder states during the winter. So you need to be careful with the corresponding seasons. You want to make sure you always stay warm around the ankles, the low back, and the neck. Wind tends to enter from the neck and the low back, and those are very important acupoints that sit there. So if you're someone that tends to get colds or stiffness in the low back and neck, do not expose them to any type of cold. Damp weather, so some people are really sensitive to heavy rains or humidity or dampness. That's an overload on the spleen. That's the spleen not being able to process the dampness and move it through. So you want to avoid cold foods and drinks, smoothies and raw veggies. Those damage the spleen and make it much harder for it to do its job of creating a more dry environment in your body versus a damp and heavy environment. So it's time to move to liver qi. This is one of my favorite QiGongs. We're going to stand up. We'll come together on this one, everyone. Highly encouraged to do this. So we got 2 practices of QiGong here. So we had the shaking and now we have liver tossing. So liver tossing, you're going to stand feet shoulder width apart. And you're going to breathe in, hands up into a T shape. Breathe out. One arm is going to go in front, one arm is going to go behind. Breathe in, breathe out. Other arm goes in front, other arm goes behind. Now we're going to want a gentle rotation. You're going to look in the direction that the front hand is and come back. I'm going to go opposite. So my left hand's going in front, I'm going to look to my right. Breathing through the nose, creating a gentle pumping. If you can't stand up, that's cool. Just do this as best as you can while seated. If it's too much to bring your arms up all the way, just bring them wherever you can. The beauty with QiGong, with acupoints, with all this stuff, I made a sciatica course for relieving sciatica back pain, and I do a lot of stretches and mobilizations in there, and I harp on the point that if you can't do some of these, especially to like full length, full prescription, that's a great sign. You actually want to find exercises that challenge you and that you can't do them, because chances are your pain exists because you can't do those things. So once you start becoming able to do those things, your pain's going to start to subside. All right. So now I told you QiGong is with intention. So right now we're just swinging our arms, we're moving stagnation, we're pumping lymph in and out, but we're going to take it a step further. So you're going to breathe in and gather all the negative qi, energy, density, whatever you want, and then toss it away from you. Really toss it like into the sky, into outer space. A lot of the times, if I ever go to, meditations, group gatherings where we're doing stuff like this, the instructions is to get rid of that negative energy from your own body. But then people tend to just dump that in their environment. So you're throwing your negative energy onto the person next to you, they're throwing it onto next to you. You're sitting in your house and you're just dumping your negative energy all over your house. That's not going to feel so good. So as you do this, toss that energy away far out. Toss that anger is associated with the liver. So that's a great emotion to work with on this one. All right, last one. Good. And notice how you feel. Do you feel that chi sensation rising up, or is it a little bit less or more compared to shaking? Take a few deep breaths. It's really important, not to just believe me on these. As you do the practice, 2 to 5 minutes a day, shaking, tossing the liver chi, that's going to start moving stagnation. It's going to improve your mood. So notice how you felt a couple minutes ago before we started doing this, and notice how you feel now. We're coming in. Who enjoyed that? Give me a little thumbs up. Was that good? I want to know. I can see I got a bit of a delay here, but let me know if that's enjoyable. We should get some more of those going. All right, back to the lecture. Sandy, what's up? So, very important concept known as the pain teacher. Pain is important, and you need to listen carefully. You need to shake hands with pain and not avoid it like a debt creditor. So in the physical plane, if I put my hand on a hot stove, immediately that pain is sending me a signal to remove my hand from the hot stove, lest I want to lose it. If that pain didn't exist, I would keep my hand on the hot stove, not realizing it was causing damage and eventually burning my whole hand, leading up into however far I leaned into that pain. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, we experience that same level of pain, but we don't realize it because it takes more time and we're not as aware and we're not making those connections. And most of the time, when we're experiencing emotional and mental pain, our tool is to pull out of that and to use something else. So I really encourage you as we go through this to listen to your pain teacher, and if something difficult comes up and through, to actually sit through it and listen. So emotions in Chinese medicine, there's no bad emotions. Humans are the ones that put labels on them and call them bad. So sadness, depression, anxiety, they're not bad. They're there and they're there for a reason. So if I'm not working out, if I'm not eating well, if I don't have good relationships, if I'm not sleeping, those are all signals to my body, just like touching a hot stove, that if I continue doing this, my body's going to degrade in health conditions. So your body has to send an external signal to you to be like, hey, wake up, we can't keep doing this or else it's going to cause more harm and damage. So emotions, pain, suffering, that's a signal from your body saying, hey, we need to change something. Something needs to happen or else we're going to keep burning our hand on the stove, emotionally, mentally speaking. So emotions are a problem when they're excess and prolonged, aka a shocking experience. Someone shoots your mother in front of you, someone kills your dog, or reliving emotion. So that's the prolonging of an emotion. Someone breaks up with you years ago. Again, you lose somebody years ago and you keep reliving in that memory, but you're not allowing it to move through. So Chinese medicine allows those things to move through, and I'm going to demonstrate a little more. Really important concept here. You have a limited capacity for emotions. If I punch myself, so physical capacity to absorb damage, if I punch myself like this, I can absorb this damage all day. If someone calls me fat on the street, I can take it all day, But if someone really gets into my soul and says something really mean from a close family member, oh, that's an impact, that's a shock. That's like someone punching me much harder and like a car hitting you. So physical damage, it could lead to a bruise, it could lead to bones being broken, it could lead to skin damage. If I keep picking that damaged area and not letting it heal, it's going to just prolong the injury and it's going to damage how it heals. On an emotional state, something really deeply emotional happens and you can't handle it in the moment, it's going to sit there, and unless you have the tool to access it and move it through to heal, it's just going to keep picking at that scar on a physical level. So It needs to be released. And I liken it again to, let's say you've gone out, you've had a buffet dinner at the mall, you step outside and you go, ooh, I really need to use the bathroom. I need to take a bowel movement right now, but I don't want to use a public toilet. And so you don't go to the bathroom and you hold it in for another day. Then you get that urge again, like, ooh, I need to release right now. This is not going to be good, but there's no bathroom around. And again, you squeeze and you hold that in. So imagine you're holding your bowel movements in day after day, week, month, year, and you're not letting that release. On a physical plane, we can understand with our minds, ooh, that's accumulation of a lot of crap right there. On an emotional level, when you feel your body needs to release and you don't allow it to release, it's the same thing as not allowing the bowel movement to happen. So going to this, we're going to talk about 4 ways to experience emotion. Again, important. You can react to the present moment. Someone says something mean to you, you drop a glass on your foot and you get angry. You can attune to someone else's emotion. Your partner walks in and they're sad, they're angry, they're happy, and you can feel their emotion through them. Self-generating emotion, so you're just thinking about something that happened in the past that was good, bad, neutral, something that will happen in the future. You're just generating, it's not actually happening. And then the last one, very important to realize when and what and how this is happening, is the release from storage of tissues. So you need, again, talking about that physical getting punched, emotions and trauma get stored in your tissues. And Chinese medicine has its own maps for dealing with this storage of tissues, storage of emotions and trauma. And a lot of the time, that release feels like, ooh, I need to find a bathroom right now, but there's no toilet available. Let me hold it in. So you feel like the urge to cry, to be sad, to whatever, but you attach a story and a judgment to it that has nothing to do with it because you're thinking it's a reaction to the present moment or some sort of self-generating thought, but you don't realize that your body just needs to release this emotion right now and it's happening. And the beauty is you need to feel it on the way out, but once it's out, it's out. Otherwise, you're just using a whole bunch of energy to keep all those emotions stuck in and drawn inwards, which takes a heavy toll on your body. Medical QiGong, acupoints, releases the blockage from the channels, which accelerates healing of emotional and physical pain. So again, free flow, no pain, no free flow, pain. This is warrior work. Self-healing is warrior work. It's not about being high and enlightened and, ooh, my life is amazing, I feel bliss right now all the time. It's about looking yourself in the mirror, forgiving yourself, and dealing with experiences of heavy emotion and not numbing through alcohol, drugs, food, sex, porn, whatever your vice is. This is how healing happens. You can't go to someone and they heal you. You need to heal from the inside. And that takes a lot of courage to walk down that path and to face yourself in front of the mirror every day, knowing like, ooh, this is not going to feel good, but I know afterwards it will. So it's a question of, are you willing to let go of your crap? It's not easy carrying the weight of your trauma in your body. This is why you're tired. This is why you're getting sick. This is why your body hurts, is because you're holding that weight. If I was carrying a 100-pound sack of shit on my back, it's going to be very hard to do anything and to live a life of love and, meaning of what I wanted to come out here. So if this resonates with any of you, hit that, give me a little thumbs up, say, yes, this resonates. I feel you, Rad. This is a very important point. This is work. This is warrior work, and you're going to battle. So for me, my warrior work happened in my gut. I had severe irritable bowel syndrome for years, and I was just holding it and holding it and holding it in. And until I learned that, hey, maybe there's something there, and I'm going to show you how I work through this. I wasn't releasing. I wasn't allowing that crap to come out. So when I removed the judgment of the release and just saw it for what it was, a release, and I need to feel it come out. I started having these experiences. I was in the kitchen, my roommate's watching TV, and I'm feeling sadness the whole day. I'm like, I don't know why. There's nothing happening in my life, but I need to cry deeply right now. So in the kitchen, I broke down to a little ball, just started bawling. My roommate came, just hugged me, accepted what was happening, didn't judge, like, oh, what's happening? Why is this? What's wrong? How do we fix it? It's like, no, she was wise enough to know, and I was wise enough to know that I need to cry right now for some reason. I did it, felt amazing, came out of it like, wow, oh, what a great bowel movement for my emotions. So working through that is very important. And how do you work through that? One of the best ways I've found is to just practice listening and talking to your body. So I got this from a friend of mine, Audra Santa. I had her on the podcast. Definitely worth a listen. But she says that curiosity is important. And I didn't understand this dimension when I was doing it myself. I started to become softer with myself, but she really took my practice further in the I wonder and curiosity state. So if you're dealing with any pain, any disease, you can say, I wonder what this is. What is that? And then you listen to your body versus, I know what I did for a long time was, why is my body hurt? Why is my stomach hurt? I'm really angry. This is pissing me off. I don't want my stomach pain anymore. This sucks. And it's like you're yelling at a kid and you're not going to get any answers and you're not going to get anywhere. You're just building more and more anger and resentment inwards towards yourself versus when I took the time and I was like, okay, stomach, what's going on? Why am I feeling this? Oh, business, relationship issues, certain things in my, and like boom, 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 boom. All these answers coming from internally that no one on the external could say. No one would know, but I was the one holding that in with me. And so as I let it come out, the healing started to happen. My stomach got so much better. So you might even have some resistance to what I'm saying right now. Like, why would I talk to my body? Why would I ask myself this stuff? Why do I have resistance to what Rad is saying right now? I wonder, what's this resistance I'm feeling in my body to these emotions coming up? So practicing asking those questions, especially after shaking, after doing liver tossing, after doing QiGong, acupoints, this stuff releases a lot through you. And then I just want you to be prepared for it. So this is what's going to be happening to you. Emotions in Chinese medicine, 5 main emotions. So anger strikes the liver, joy damages the heart, grief attacks the lungs, fear injures the kidneys, and overthinking hurts the spleen. So just like the yin and yang, qi, blood, this is another area you can think into yourself, okay, do I struggle with anger issues? Joy would be like another way to say it is excess desires, pleasure seeking, not getting what you want in terms of those desires. Do I have a lot of grief? Okay, so I'm looking towards the lungs in that case. Or fear, okay, low back, kidneys, overthinking, spleen and digestive issues. This is why Chinese medicine is so good at treating and more importantly preventing chronic disease. Because over a lifespan, if your liver is constantly getting attacked, you're going to have liver problems or liver channel problems. If you've got too much joy, so let's say someone jumps out of an airplane or does too much cocaine, it's just too much adrenaline at one point. And that adrenaline over and over and over, that's weakening your system. So weakening the heart. Grief, sadness, crying. There's a lot of breathing and shallowness and depth to that doesn't exist. So the lungs get to bind and they tighten and you crumple over and hide from life because you're in sadness and grief. I hope this is coming through to you. Emotions very important in Chinese medicine and they're stored in your body through the channels, through the acupoints, to the organs. So this leads us to the 9 weaknesses of qi. So you can actually see qi in people. Anger will lift the qi. So when you get angry, it's all coming up to your head. It's red, it's hot, you're fiery, you're angry, getting headaches, that kind of stuff. When you're in fear, the qi sinks. So you're like, oh, I'm scared, I'm going to back off. I might even wet my pants. So that qi is sinking and coming out of me. Joy will slacken the qi. So if you've had a bunch of massages, some chocolates, some pizza, you're kind of sitting back like, oh, yeah, ooh. So it slackens the qi. Grief will scatter the qi. When you're in that grief state, like you're just lost, you're completely gone and scattered. It's very difficult to be in one place. Terror confuses the qi. So if you're running away, you're scared, you don't know what's going on, you're in this fight or flight state. Thinking will stagnate the qi. So digestion, physical and mental, they both run on the same power. So if you're just always thinking, it's going to slow down and stagnate the qi for digestion, for movement. Excessive thinking exhausts the qi. So when you do a big study session, reading, work, you just feel exhausted even though you didn't do anything physical. Cold will tighten the qi. Heat will spread the qi. So let's talk about counteracting anger through qi. So I'm going to show you one way to do this, to fight one of these right now. We're going to do this together. So It's called pulling down the heavens. It's a staple in Chinese medicine and QiGong. Usually it's done at the beginning and the end, and there's many ways to do this, so this is just one way to do it and to use it. It's pulling down the heavens. We're all going to stand up together, and you're going to have your feet shoulder width apart underneath you. You're going to breathe in, get to that T shape, and at this point we're going to turn the palms up, bring them overhead. I'm just showing you on the camera, don't actually kneel right now. You bring them overhead and come down in front of your body. So with this intention, we're bringing up, breathing in through the nose, and then we're trying to settle the chi and bring it down. So if you're feeling angry, you're talking over the phone, someone said something, if you have the space, time, capacity to do this movement and you bring the chi down with conscious effort, it's going to help reduce your anger state. It's going to help heal your liver. So breathing in, turn the hands over halfway through, reaching up into the sky like this. Breathe out and bring that chi down towards the ground. So anger is rising the chi. We're bringing it down to calm the mind. So if anger is something you struggle with, this is a great tool to use. Alternatively, if you're in a conversation with someone, if you're in a position where you can't just lift your arms overhead to calm yourself down, you can focus the energy downwards. And focus the chi down. So take a big inhale through the nose into the pit of the stomach to drop, to sink, to lower the chi and counteract that rising. So through diagnosis, through understanding which emotions, liver, kidney, spleen is getting hit, you can use certain intentional QiGong movements, acupoints to help reverse that. And number 3 cause for disease is habits. So poor nutrition. If you're eating poor food, it's going to have a negative effect on your body. Traumatic injuries. Someone hits you, you get in a car accident. It's going to have a negative effect on your body. Exhaustion. So overworking yourself. Adrenal fatigue, not sleeping. Negative effect on your body. Fungus and parasites. So getting attacked from the outside and now you got some invaders in you. Negative impact on your body. Improper treatment. You go for an amputation on the left leg and they take the right leg off. Improper treatment. They give you the wrong medications. You take the wrong prescription. You get the wrong diagnosis and you do the wrong treatment. Excessive sexual activity. So for men, we have the jing that can come through as the sperm. So when you ejaculate too often, you're losing a lot of life essence and your body has to keep replenishing and digging into that. I'm not going to go into in depth on this webinar about this, but excessively for women would be lactation, menstruation, and giving birth. So giving birth it's a big drain on the female body. It's a lot going in to form this baby, comes out, and you're just drained for the next 1 to 2 years. If you're trying to have a family, it's recommended in Chinese medicine to wait at least 2 years between births to allow the female to replenish as much as she can before generating another life form. Lactation, menstruation, that's also how you lose certain forms because you're losing blood, yin, this life force essence, jing. And your genetics, what you're born with, it's kind of hard to overcome that. Now, as you're young, 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all of these things don't really affect you when you're in your teens or early 20s. It's hard to be exhausted, hard for poor nutrition to have taken enough toll. But it's called death by 1,000 cuts. So one little paper cut's not going to kill you. 2, 3, 4, 5, 100, 200, 1,000 paper cuts bleeding you out over a long enough time can kill you. So you don't need like one big massive traumatic injury. It's I had burgers last night. I had pizza today. I didn't sleep well yesterday. I missed the gym all week. All these little things. I didn't move my body enough. Build and lead up to the death by 1,000 cuts. And so for Chinese medicine, what I'm trying to teach you here is self-healing. So relying on yourself to heal. Medical Qigong helps to pump the body, to move the fluids, to move the emotions, to clear stagnation and release those emotions. Acupoints helps to move the qi and blood as well, targets specific channels, and it's easy to use. So acupoints are specific points that are located along channels that help to restore qi and blood flow in the organ and in the channel. So it works to bring in nutrients and remove waste. So here we have the pericardium channel coming in from the chest, through the biceps, elbows, out through the middle finger. So if you're working on certain pericardium things, you would choose points along this channel to help you improve. So I'm going to show you the 5 command points. These are very useful points. If you can memorize them, they're great for the rest of your life. So 5 command points, they work on specific parts of your body. Pericardium 6, chest and heart, anxiety. Stomach 36, the abdomen area, so anything with digestion, overthinking. Large intestine 4 is for the face and the mouth. Lung 7 for the head and the back of the neck. And bladder 40 hits the low back. So let's get into that quickly here. So pericardium 6, 3 fingers below the wrist crease, between these 2 tendons right here. So stimulating this 2 to 5 minutes, anytime you feel chest tightness, anxiety, will help. We've got stomach 36, again the command point for the abdomen, so anything with digestion. That's 4 fingers below the kneecap, just outside the shin bone. So anytime you have digestive issues, stomach issues, abdomen issues, this is the point to use. Large intestine 4, right here, so if you just make a little crease, and then you press inwards under the bone right here, this is your second metacarpal, pressing in will help with the face and mouth. Lung 7, I like to find this point with 2 L's, so I put my fingers together, overlap them where my finger lands. That's my point between 2 tendons right here. And so this is for the head and the back of the neck. So if you have like headaches, neck stiffness, neck soreness, this is a good point to use. And last point I'm going to show you here is bladder 40. So bladder 40 is located at the back of the knee, just on the crease right in the middle. You press this bad boy. So you can do it while seated. You just press your thumbs into the back of your knee. This is going to help alleviate low back pain. So all these points, 2 to 5 minutes a day, whenever you're experiencing, you can use it preemptively or during symptoms. That's very useful. So I've seen a comment here, joy damages the heart, ? Yeah, so joy damages the heart. You can think of it as desire. So excess desire, excess fire, excess pleasure seeking. Like I said, too much joy. So let's say alcohol, you're constantly going down that pathway. Or cocaine, you're constantly going the pleasure-seeking route. That's damaging the heart. It's damaging the mind. So heart is associated with the mind. I think you can see where that goes. Likewise, if you don't get enough joy, that can also be a problem for the heart. So I'm getting the feeling you're probably feeling like this at this point. This is a lot of information to be just taking in. This took me a year to like really. So when I was in Chinese medicine school, for the first year, I didn't understand what the heck was going on. It's like, we got these organs here, we got these channels, we got these acupoints. We're doing clinic, we're gonna stick some needles in people. What the heck is going on? So that's why I write my books. That's why I make my posts. And basically, if you've been interested into what I've been talking about so far, I think you're gonna really like this. So because 60 minutes, this one workshop's kind of limited for what I can do, I put together a little project and I'll be introducing that to you now. So basically it's a healing with Chinese medicine live course. It's going to be 7 weeks online to help move stagnation, prevent disease, release emotions stored. So all the stuff we've talked about, but just systematized over a longer period so that you can really build onto it. So if you have releasing muscle pain, joint pain, boosting energy, sleep, and basically it's just going to teach you focus on teaching you how to heal anytime, anywhere. So it's a tool, QiGong, acupoints that you can use anywhere. You don't need to rely on anyone once you've learned it. So first week we're going to cover deeper Chinese medicine theory like we're talking about here, intro to QiGong. Second week we're going to focus on anger and forgiving yourself and others. Third week we'll focus on fear, start living life with purpose. Fourth week, we're going to turn off the worry and overthinking that prevents you from being present and in the moment. We're going to focus on releasing grief in order to bring back joy, dealing with desire in order to live a peaceful life, and then build on those habits to live more fully. So this is going to start January 1st. Course is going to include live weekly meetings. They'll be recorded, so if you can't make a week, that's okay. There's going to be pre-recorded materials explaining a lot of theory and exercises and details. Chinese Medicine Foundation for Healthy Living Life, some checklists, PDFs, weekly homework to build on your practice to ensure that you're actually doing what you want to do. And then QiGong practices to generate and harness your energy naturally, as well as acupoints to boost the progress. So this is for you if you have physical pain you want to get rid of, you're carrying deep emotions that are just weighing you down like I was talking about, you're having difficulty releasing that crap, you're feeling stagnant in your life and things aren't moving in the right direction. You want to get back to doing things you love with the people you love. And you're interested in nourishing your body through energy work. And perhaps Western medicine hasn't been able to help you and you're just seeking something else. So you might be wondering, how much is this going to cost? I want you to think of this as an investment in yourself today and in the future. Like I said, once you learn this, there's no needing to pay money to go to someone else. You're just going to be able to heal yourself. And so you also have to think, what is it going to cost to not invest in yourself? So if you're excited about what I've talked about and you want to go deeper, you have to consider, like, if you don't invest, are you going to keep getting sicker? Is there going to be more pain? Is there going to be a lack of energy to do your work and to bring in money for future? So basically, this whole course, 7 weeks live, it's going to be $700. But wait, since it's starting in January, I kind of want to give you some tools to get started right away. So I want to share some bonuses with you when you join the course. So number one, you're going to get my bodyweight training course, which is $200. It's built for beginners and everything is just done for you to be done at home. So this program helps build strong muscles, bones, and joints. Again, removing the pain, reducing old injuries, building a good posture and foundational strength for the real world, which in self-healing is just very important to have some sort of functional bodyweight training program. And it shows you everything you need to restore. This is Sarah. She lost 77 pounds in 1 year just working out from home. So it's pretty incredible what one person can do with very limited equipment in their home. This was during COVID. She went from 245 to 188 to 168. Very proud of her. Very proud of her. So the bodyweight program, you're going to be able to climb stairs without knee pain, without getting winded. You're going to be able to play, if you've got kids, grandkids, nieces, be pain-free for them. You get out of bed, not feel like the Tin Man, and feel strong and capable in your daily activities, which I think is a fantastic add-on to just coming on the program 7 weeks of inner healing work. Why not also build the strength on the outer side too? So second bonus you're going to get is my Acupoints and Chinese Medicine 101 book. Usually sells for $33 just to help clear blockages, boost qi and blood, regulate your energies. So all the stuff I talked about goes way more in depth in this book, and we'll go through even more in the course, the 7-week course. But you're learning how to clear stagnation through acupoints, going in depth on Chinese medicine, moving that emotion and stored trauma. I really wanted to prepare you with this workshop so you understand that when you release trauma, you don't need to attach a story, you don't need to be in on it. It's very important. So you're also going to be basically teaching you how to relieve things like nausea, vomiting, pericardium 6, like I showed you, joint and muscle pain. Gallbladder 34 is the go-to spot. If you have menstrual issues, spleen 10 is really useful. Digestion and abdominal pain. Again, this all breaks down very simply into my Acupoints 101 guide. Headaches, colds, lung 7 I showed you, stomach 36. Next up, we have my morning QiGong routine. So I usually sell that for $11. So today you can start moving your qi, your stagnation out. It's a 15-minute routine anyone can do. It's just to follow along. And alongside that, I have an in-depth video explaining all the movements. So it's not just, here's a follow-along video, you have no idea what you're doing. It's like, hey, here's what's going to happen in this video. Here's the follow-along video. For those of you that once you get used to it, I have a musical track. So it has a timer for everything. You don't have to hear my voice. You can just watch and do it with me. So basically start clearing your stagnation right away. So it has similar things like the shaking, the liver tossing in a more systemic way, which also includes stretching the meridians. So opening the channels in the morning, very important for the fascia to be healthy and to move stagnation. If you're a stiff person in the morning, this is great for you. If you want to calm the mind, gain clarity, boost your energy without needing coffee and just tune into your body, this is going to be a great bonus for you. So number 4 is my sciatica and low back pain relief routine. That's $44. So right now we're up to $288 in bonuses. This is for people that just have really bad sciatic pain, low back pain. Even if you don't have it, maybe someone in your family does or a friend does, and just give them this program. It's really going to help them. So It's the exact method I used to heal my sciatica. I gave myself sciatica twice, and these were the exact movements that helped me get out of it. So if you need to get out of pain ASAP, this is what you need. It's 23 minutes. You just follow along routine, and it also comes with my 7 secrets to stop sciatica, as well as 5 acupoints to specifically press for sciatica. And we also have my How to Lose Weight ebook and audiobook, so $39. This is my #1 best-selling ebook that guides you to a healthier lifestyle. So Sarah was using the lifestyle modifications in that book. Stop counting calories. That's not really the right method I use and my clients use in order to lose weight. So you're going to discover what actually matters, and insulin, hormones is the key, not hours of useless cardio, which actually does the exact opposite of helping you lose weight. And you're going to discover the best foods and which ones to eat to avoid. So how to beat your cravings and emotional eatings as well. This is my client Jen. She lost over 50 pounds implementing the body weight workouts, implementing the lifestyle changes from that book exactly. So anything is possible. This is just a crazy transformation. I still can't believe it myself. So all of this is designed to help get you healthy, get you in the best shape, move you towards vitality, clearing emotions. And this is before we've even started our 7-week course. So I think 7 weeks is like 7 weeks. It's 3 weeks away, January 1st, which is when we'll start. So that's $327 worth of bonuses. And you really have to think, if even just one of these bonuses helped you out through the challenge, what would that be worth to you? How would your life be different without stress, without anger, without joint pain, without back pain, being able to get out of bed easier? And you're going to get instant access to all 5 of these bonuses right now, today, while you wait for the course to get started on January 1st. So in total, we're getting 6 things, total value of $1,027. I want to give you my money back guarantee. This is 100%. If after 7 weeks of doing the practices, everything we do, you don't see tangible improvements in your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, I will give you your money back, no questions asked. I don't want anyone's money who doesn't feel like I gave them value for that money. So if you do everything and you're telling me like, Brad, this didn't work, here's all your money back. Now, I have extreme confidence in what I do and what my work does in QiGong and acupoints that I can give this. I don't believe you can do all this stuff that I say and not feel it. But if you tell me that you do, your money back guarantee. So you either improve in all those aspects or I give you your money back. So win-win for you. So we have to look at the crystal ball now. If we're looking into your future 1, 2, 3, 4 months ahead, will this be you in 7 weeks? More energy, less crap holding, better relationships, a toolbox for dealing with anxiety, depression, anger, and emotions, improving clarity, reducing body pains. Is this the direction you want to move in your life? And looking in that crystal ball, based on what you're doing right now, if nothing changes, are you getting sicker? Are you feeling even more pain? Do you have less energy? Do you feel loneliness, depression, and wishing that life could just be something else? It's a very important question to ask, and looking in that crystal ball, we all know the answer. If we keep going in this direction, this is what I'm going to get. So you either enjoy what you're going to get and consciously make a decision to keep going there, or you make a decision to change that direction and go a different trajectory. So again, this is what you're going to get. Heal Yourself with Chinese Medicine course, my training, bodyweight style, my acupoints in Chinese medicine book, my morning qigong, my sciatica, and my How to Lose Weight ebook. All. So at this point, you're getting $1,000 worth of value for $700. I'm going to open it up to Q&A. You can go to radislav.ca/heal